Historically, on budget day, changes have been implemented from midnight on budget day. So a buyer might want to try and find a creative way to have their cake and eat it. And we can work with buyers to try and line up that option, i.e., if they think the changes are going to be negative, we get them exchanged by midnight on budget day. If the changes are in their favour, we could potentially exchange the next day. Each buyer is different, and of course, each seller will have their own view on the risk of PPR and CGT changing as well.
Unfortunately, we do not have a crystal ball. So along with everyone else, we'll be watching the Chancellor's budget announcement on the 26th of November. I think we know that the government's going to want to increase tax receipts and will also want to avoid disruption to the market. And I think there's a number of ways in which they might achieve that. I think generally our view is that a radical overhaul of SDLT is unlikely to be brought into force immediately. It seems likely to us that there will be some sort of lead-in time, possibly even with some formal consultations before any changes are made into law. We would also expect there to be some reliefs available for those who've paid SDLT under the existing system, rather than them being immediately subject to any new system that's brought in to replace that. I think generally our view is that it's unlikely to become less expensive to either purchase or hold property, particularly high-value property and those properties which are held for the longer term.
The proposals are all quite interesting and, if I'm honest, quite challenging. The annual tax on properties above a certain value is likely to be very difficult to implement. The potential tax on the introduction of CGT on private residences above 1.5 million potentially acts retrospectively and is a disincentive for transactions. And lastly, the big one, the rebanding of council tax, which is arguably long overdue, is simply not easy to implement. So what might raise more revenue? The reality of the position is that receipts from residential transactions, SDLT receipts, have been declining. And I would suggest that that's because the top end rates of SDLT are now acting as a serious deterrent to people transacting. Tax has that effect. It is a deterrent on transactions. So if the Chancellor is pondering on what might make more money, I submit she would be wise to consider adjusting the top end rates downwards, because it will create more transactions in the market.
So we've been considering whether or not our clients are pausing transactions until after the budget. And the answer is not really. Most clients are aware that speculation is just that, speculation. And for many, the decision as to whether or not to buy or transact now is dependent on personal and practical factors, and rather than just solely tax changes. That said, we are seeing a few clients ask whether or not it's worth holding off, particularly if they're in the early stages of thinking about transacting. So what's our advice? It really depends. If you're ready to go, you've taken suitable tax advice, then don't delay unnecessarily. But if you're still weighing up options, it's reasonable to wait and see what happens in the budget in November.
I can answer this one because someone in the team asked me recently, and the answer is I would press ahead and try and get things done before the budget. I think that there is a strong chance that property taxes will increase, that definitely the government need to raise more tax revenue immediately. I think they'll look at property to do that. So I think the best tax environment to exchange and ideally complete is now rather than post-budget. So for those people who are in the market or looking to enter the market, we've got 2 months as of today, pretty much, to get things done. That's ample time. And I think the time to do things is now. I think it will be more expensive. There'll be more tax to pay post budget.